Good day, friends of Radio Land. This is Colonel Gray. Of course, I am here tonight just to bring you some highlights of events shaping our world. In case you're just joining me, I would like to welcome you. Thank you so much. Before we make stride in this telecast tonight, let me, you know, bring you some of the somber news in our Liberian community. A number of our close associates and friends, former schoolmates, and so on, are struck with the tragedy of death. In case you are not aware, over the weekend we also buried two of our colleagues here in the Twin Cities, and those were Liberians that were very prominent in the society. I will also, I'm also, overwhelmed to inform you about the death of another gentleman, Mr. Scott was a student of the University of Liberia. Was very, very prevalent among Liberians who were trying to revive the UL Student Alumni Association. By the way, the UL Student Alumni Association will have their program between the 18th and the 20th of October. Today's being the 1st, so we have barely 17 days to go. I attempted bringing you event about that. Hold on a second, I can hear myself here. It's not supposed to be. Yeah. So, the UL Student Alumni Association in the Americas will be hosting the annual convention here in Minnesota on between the 18th and the 20th, respectively. There will be a 3-day event starting on the 18th. In case you are not aware, I will ask that you watch out for that event as well. We'll try to I promise to bring them on Sunday. Unfortunately, we had this funeral of one of our own colleagues who also passed, and but I'll bring you highlights about that event as well. But let me see if I can share some of this broadcast to those who are still up trying to find something to watch. We have folks who are extremely passionate about the University of Liberia, and but in the meantime, let me get you onto our intro page so that I'll try to share this. Okay, thank you so much.
This is the Social Media Live podcast show of Colonel Edmund Remy Gray on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Join the Colonel every Sunday and Wednesday for poignant socio-political discussion shaping our Liberian homeland. Around here, we put the motherland over any celebrity, politician, or superstar. Stay tuned. Instagram. Join the Colonel every Sunday and Wednesday for poignant socio-political discussions shaping our Liberian homeland. Around here, we put the motherland over any celebrity, politician, or superstar. This is the Social Media Live podcast show of Colonel Edmund Remy Gray on Facebook, YouTube, Stay tuned. Sunday and Wednesday for poignant socio-political discussions shaping our Liberian homeland. Around here, we put the motherland. This is the Social Media Live podcast show of Colonel Edmund Remy Gray on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Social Media Live podcast of Colonel Edmund Remy Gray on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Join the Colonel every Sunday and Wednesday for poignant socio-political discussions shaping the Liberian home. Around here, we put the motherland over any celebrity, politician, or superstar. Stay tuned. Media Live of Colonel Edmund Remy Gray on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Join the Colonel every Sunday and Wednesday for poignant socio-political discussions shaping our Liberian homeland. Around here, we put the motherland over any celebrity, politician, or superstar. Stay tuned. Podcast show of Colonel Edmund Remy Gray on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Join Colonel every Sunday and Wednesday for poignant socio-political discussions. Put the motherland over any celebrity, politician, is the Social Media Podcast show. Colonel Edmund Remy Gray on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Join the Colonel every Sunday and Wednesday for poignant socio-political discussions shaping our Liberian homeland. We put the motherland over any celebrity, politician, or superstar. Stay tuned. for poignant socio-political discussions shaping our Liberian homeland. Or superstar. Stay tuned.
All right, of course, welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Colonel. And tonight I have a host of news events making headlines in Liberia. Firstly, I'd like to welcome you to my telecast here. And this is just events shaping our Liberian homeland. In case you are not aware, I am not going to waste any time in bringing you some of the headlines, some of the events making headlines in Liberia, both yesterday and today. And of course, as you're aware, the president of Liberia, His Excellency George Weah, returned from the United Nations. And among some of the line of questioning he faced was the issue regarding the War Crimes Court. And he was very somber about some of the ways in which he was asked. And the president himself had a lot, fight back to respond to a question about whether or not he was supporting the War Crimes Court. What he said was this was not him saying it, but Liberians, including victims and those perpetrators of war themselves, were asking that both the victim and war perpetrator meet under the Palava Hut, meaning in an amicable way to solve the crisis. According to him, he has now, in fact, reverted that decision to the House. And as you may be aware, the House voted favorably on that issue. But then I understand that there will be a referendum on the matter. And what that means when there's a referendum, that is simply to tell you that the decision to actually sign onto a war crimes court will be left with the Liberian people. Whether or not they're going to accept it, it's not for him to determine. And as you know, Liberians have mixed feelings. But one of those individuals with mixed feelings, the president himself, he said, right now we're faced with economic, crisis. Why the focus on War Crimes Court? Why was this issue not actually brought up in the last 12 years? Sometimes when the president makes those kinds of statements, one wonder whether he was in Liberia in the last 12 years or not. Because, number one, he was part of the Liberian legislature. He was a senator. Aside from that, he was one of the largest opposition leaders. For him to have sat there and not push the idea of a war crimes court that was brought to the very Senate that is guarded by the likes of Prince Johnson and others, is for him to determine, to tell us. But it's not like this issue was not pushed. Number one, the President of the Republic of Liberia swept it aside. She said because the issue, the way the TRC crafted the request, it was vindictive, it was finger pointing, they were targeting certain people to exclude them from political participation. So a lot of things happen. For the president to come out and say why Liberians did not push for war crimes court, I think the bulk of our people, not the bulk, but those who want this to take effect, have themselves made the request tangibly. And sometimes when you're elected to go in the House of Legislature, you're there to represent the wish and aspirations of our people. If you went there and could not raise the issue for all the years you sat there, I mean, you were even coined the name Bobo Senator. So don't come back and ask why this issue was not reverted in the last 12 years. And according to him, the individuals who were ahead of the war, both perpetrators especially and victim, were part of the government of the last 12 years, meaning Madame Salif and her government. Okay? But this is just to tell you that people can be extremely insensitive about the plight of others, especially when they're sent to a certain level in power. That in itself, I would like to hold that thought, because I do have something about the Alternative National Congress. People have been asking some of us who were at the top of this organization from the get-go whether there is a split in the ANC, whether the Alternative National Congress itself has a split. And then, but I'll hold on to that thought, and then I'll come back to that and address that issue very, very subtly, so that people can understand that the Alternative National Congress has one objective, and that objective is to take state power through the ballot box. And until we go to any other convention, the political leader that could be the individual that would represent the Alternative National Congress is Alex Cummings. So if the party is split, maybe someone needs to tell me if they have somebody in mind other than Alex Cummings that is representing the party. But I'll hold on to that thought. I do have quite a bit to say about that, and people should begin to understand that the style of politicking that the Alternative National Congress is bringing to the table is purely retail politicking. But let's hold on to that thought first. Let me bring you, as you are aware, I think on the 5th, which will be on which will be on Saturday, the by-election in Grand Cape Man County to replace the late Edward Dagose will be held. So in case you're not aware, there are 7 candidates vying, one of which is independent. The other 6 represent various political parties, including the Alternative National Congress. Okay? But let me see if I can find that clip so I can share it with you. Let me change platform here. Just give me a second. All right. Just give me a minute. Let me see here. So this is the representative from
11:59 p.m. Campaign will be officially closed. Then you have the fourth, more or less like trying to process what the candidates have told you to the voters. And then Saturday beginning at 8 o'clock in the morning, you go and cast your vote for one of the seven candidates of your choice. Also, if we happy that everything is on course. As I speak to you today, concludes the training of election workers. It started with the lower aspects, including BBR, and now today the POs, presiding officers, and VRO, or voter identification officers, have been trained. That's the final stage of our election training. Of course, it started with the election supervisors. Yeah, so we are happy that at this point we have not encountered problems. The process is going smoothly, and so we are ready for deployment. I'm sure by Wednesday or Thursday that will be confirmed by the operation session, so that we conduct these elections on Saturday morning up to between 8 and 6 p.m. And of course, the people of Kidman will be fully represented at the end of this week, I'm sure. According to our calendar, we will begin announcing results, of course, probably Monday, because it ends on Saturday. And then normally we start tallying. And so by Monday, I'm sure we'll start provisional reports. So we have up to the 14th of October to give final results in between there. And so in a matter of a week from Saturday, we can safely say the people of Kidman will be fully represented at the level of the Senate.
Yeah, you say you have trained your people with news and hearing and all those things. Do you have some of those representatives from various factions joining the people who encounter what we have first in District 15?
Well, normally the party agents, yes, they are trained by their parties. Of course, whenever they need assistance, we give them. And the basic things, of course, you have to know your do's and don'ts. You have to know what is a valid vote and what is invalid vote. Because when the counting is going on, for instance, you should know what is valid vote and what is not valid. Okay? You should know what is reconciliation, for instance. You should know the sorting out. These are basic things that you need to know as a party representative. You know, because, for instance, you have to, reconcile, for instance, how many ballot papers were available before the start of the polling. When you know the serial number, you have to take those things down. When the poll is closed, you must know how many of those ballot papers were used, how many were left. They should be able to correspond. For instance, if we have 150, and at the end of the day, 50 were used, the balance should be 100. You need to know, these are basic things that, we expect that our party reps will know. So, yes, we don't hope to have problems. One of the problems we have, for instance, was the issue of supervisors, for instance. And we've told the parties over and over that supervisors are not recognized. We have a party agent, we have two at each polling center, and one in at a time. That person is more or less the.
And of course, that is this is regarding the municipal by-election that will be held in Grand Cape Mount County on Saturday. Polls are, I believe, open between 8 and 6. So in case you have the ability to go and cast your ballot for one of 7 candidates, and you heard the election commission representative there trying to lay the case. In case you're not aware, there will be that voting event in Grand Cape Man County, among others. 7 candidates vying for that one seat, and including an independent candidate, and you have 6 others. Okay, but that is not the most important issue here tonight. Maybe it might be for certain people, but I just wanted to just highlight that there will be that event on Saturday. So in case you you are thinking about going there, in case you have access, you're thinking about going there to cast your ballot, that would be great, because every vote counts. Okay. But let me bring you this event by the president. Upon his return from the United Nations, he was, of course, faced with, was confronted by a cross section of journalists, both the print and electronic media. They, asked him a number of questions. But here's his response to the one regarding the War Crimes Court, in case you haven't seen this. Thanks for joining us. This is our Radio Wish, and this is our television portion of our media broadcast.
What should Liberians expect from that particular portion?
But I just stay there. I don't understand what you want. Since we came to power, I've not one day called for war crime court. You, the journalists, call for war crime court. Liberians are calling for war crime court. Both the victims and the perpetrator are calling for war crime court. What I did is to explain to them why now. So if you don't understand my English, then you need to go back to the speech and then you read it well. You calling for war crime court, I say now why this time? When we have an economic issue, we're trying to develop our country, why focus on the war crime court now? Why you did not focus on it 12 years ago? And those people that were part of the entire process of what happened to us, they left the 12 years. So why now? Is that what you want? After that, we send it to the legislature. The Liberia can talk about it. I think it's important. I want to give them opportunity. I want to give them opportunity to talk about it instead of every day disturbing the peace of this country. So now you have to reason about
And indeed, that was the president, responding to a question on the War Crimes Court. In case you didn't get that portion of the news today on his return from the United Nations, there you are. But move along with the program here, and there is the issue of a pending demonstration. And as you're aware, Liberians have expressed their contention on the number of hardship facing the nation. Okay, hopefully this is working here. Hold on. Liberians have expressed their mixed feelings about the economic crisis facing the nation, and as a result, they are planning to protest again, like they did back in June on the 7th. They are hoping to come en masse in the street and register their sentiments. But among others, a number of people have taken to demonstration recently. Some of whom come from the health community, health workers. They just concluded about a 3-day striking event, even if it's not more. And those individuals have been, I understand, a package of a salary was presented to them because they were, among others, rejecting the payroll harmonization, so-called payroll harmonization, and the number of cuts amidst the lack of collecting their salary or wages every month. I think government is in arrear of some 3 to 4 months, and so those people came out to protest for their pay, and patients were visiting hospitals and were seen, rejected for the fact that the government has not made salary payment for the last probably 3 or 4 months, as I said earlier. So that is one among many other protestations that have been going on. The president is one person. He's not happy about this, but this is exactly what democracy is all about. Sometimes you may not like it, but the people have no other way to seek redress but through protestation. And in case you're just joining me, this is the Colonel Show, Colonel Edmund Gray, and I'm trying to bring you highlights of events in Liberia and the rest of the world. Over the week also, some Liberians showed up for a wakekeeping and burial ceremony for our own Arnold Johnson. Arnold Johnson happened to have been a student of Monrovia College, and he matriculated to the University of Liberia, and he was one of many people who came to the United States in the late 90s, and so he was here with his family, but the evil hands of death, of course, snatched him from us. He was also